I encountered many Poles who seemingly didn't know that there were black people in America. So there was a situation at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs where I was asked to go over and be the lookout for former Secretary of State Colin Powell's delegation that was meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs. I arrived and announced myself as the embassy's representative. The ministry had been informed prior to my arrival that I would be arriving. So I get there, and I remember the ministry representative looking left, looking right, but not looking center. And another Foreign Service officer from the embassy in Warsaw was there, and not the first time it had happened, saying to the Polish guy, this is Charles Rush from the embassy. We're here together. They don't see because they've never experienced, because what they know is based on their knowledge of European history. When that is all you have read and learned, then you don't know.
Right.
Your textbook doesn't teach you anything about anyone else's history by intentionally not including it. So you don't know anything.
Now I have to ask this question because people are misinformed.
Misinformed, yes, and uninformed, both.
Okay, uninformed and
No.
misinformed.
Yes, they're both.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So assumptions are made in that environment. Right.
This was not his expectation for me that I would be the embassy's representative. Now,
is that an underestimation, Rush?
That is an underestimation based on assumptions from being uninformed and misinformed.
Right.
Now, to the point that I encountered many Poles who seemingly didn't know that there were black people in America. That even though they knew of Muhammad Ali or Michael Jordan, apparently Michael Jordan didn't have parents, siblings, grandparents who had siblings, and so there was only Michael Jordan and only Muhammad Ali. It is that you're not American. Now, white Americans are generally from Europe.
What does that mean? You're not American?
White Americans are generally from Europe. But what I was brought to understand in Poland was that didn't matter. They're the Americans. The others of you are immigrants. Because the question to me was, yes, you're from America, but where are you?
And that's a real question for them.
Yes, because they would never ask my white colleague where in Europe you're from.
Were you ever asked that question?
Yes. Where are you really from? That was the question.
And were you, when that first happened to you, one, how did you respond to that? How did it make you feel? And based on that feeling, did that change your response?
Indeed. So my response was, well, my grandparents are from America. I'm from America. Yes. I mean, there was that. There was the question of how did you get this job, which is how did you as a black person get this job? For 4 years in Poland, it was only white people who asked me that question. And I began to understand what the question really meant.
And did they do that in a condescending way? Or did they do that in a general way you would ask a professor a question in class? Like they're looking to learn, like they don't know. Were they genuine about it?
So initially you think that they're genuine about it. But when you're asked this question by only white people for 4 years, different white people, the same question, and your colleagues who are white are not asked the same question, then
it's a status quo.
It's not about a genuine interest in how the process for becoming a Foreign Service officer. It's about how did you slip through the cracks, because these positions are not intended for you. That's what that's about. Never mind your qualifications. These are not positions that are intended for you.
And did this affect your success rate? Because
No.
I'm assuming as a Foreign Service officer, you're there to negotiate on behalf of the U.S. In matters that involve the two countries.
Right. No, because I'm about the business. This other stuff is a sideshow,
Right.
just a sideshow.